All right, man. Clippers Nuggets game one did not disappoint. This series is already awesome. We will talk Bucks Pacers game one as well. And then I'll be back tonight for the other games. Not every day of these playoffs is going to be 2 videos a day, but you just play the stuff by ear. Anyway, that felt like 2 different games. The fourth quarter and overtime, which was the Nuggets being physical as hell on offensive rebounds and the Russell Westbrook experience. And then it was the rest of the game, which felt like a little more of like, can the Nuggets deal with the Clippers pick and roll offense? Is Jamal Murray going to get cooking? The Zoo-Jokic matchup, the whole thing. But to go with the later part of the game first, that's what we're thinking about. So I actually want to start with the offensive rebounds, where, the Nuggets for the game, they finished with 12, but it felt like they got 100 in the fourth quarter or whatever. Some of that from Russ, some of that from Gordon, some of it from Jokic. And I felt like them putting Zoo in the Jokic-Murray two-man game so much forced him to be higher up on these things, which means he had to just cover more ground to get back into the paint. And you combine that with the Nuggets honestly just tapping into some like heart of a champion stuff. That's what got them a lot of extra possessions. We then had the Russ experience between made threes where he's left completely wide open and plays where he doesn't want to take the three, but there also isn't really a driving lane and Jokic is open, but okay, now we're going to overtime. Or a couple of crazy layup attempts where he just did not need to do that. And then he got the huge deflection off of Harden late. He shot 5 for 17 from the field, and it was entertaining the whole time. MPJ was doing kind of nothing out there, and, well, at least on offense. Maybe his defense was much better than I thought it was if I was going to rewatch this. But I know the Nuggets are going to celebrate tonight. That is a very important thing because Kawhi started the game on MPJ. He was not on MPJ for every single possession. In fact, Kawhi did have some on Murray late there. If MPJ does not get free for some easy stuff, it's going to be very tough for them to put up enough points. Then we get to the Nuggets pick and roll defense against the Clippers as well as the Clippers offense. So early on in this game, Harden was doing whatever he wanted to. You put Jokic in the action, you run the Zoo screen, and the thought that I had was if this keeps up, this is actually going to be what people thought was going to happen in the Suns series a couple years ago when people just kept on saying, well, put Jokic in pick and roll, he'll be fine. It's like, well, yeah, that team was better defensively than this Nuggets team is. And so whether it was Harden getting downhill, whether it was Zoo finishing around the basket, whether it was Chris Dunn getting open for cuts, whether it was like eventually Jokic dropping back and then it's Harden floaters, whatever, it felt like that was going to perhaps dictate the game. Mid-second quarter, the Nuggets just upped the intensity everywhere, pressuring the ball more. They also just got way more aggressive with rotations inside. And the Nuggets, or the Clippers, they were still able to get some buckets off of it. Like I do remember the Zoo layup that was a goaltend off of the Nuggets, trapping Harden with Jokic, and it was probably Murray if he was trying to put Murray in the action. But there were way more plays where like Chris Dunn would cut, and then the Nuggets would very aggressively help, to the point where I'm sure if you look back on it, there's probably open threes to be had, but it did result in more plays where he's uncomfortable around the rim and he's passing out, or maybe it happened with Zoo once or twice. I'd have to go back and look at the whole thing, but that was my general thought. You then also had the Nuggets throwing a lot of bodies at Kawhi. And sure, Kawhi, he's still going to find times to get his fadeaways off, but I remember one play specifically where Harden is trying to get Murray switched onto him, and it actually ends up with Murray switched onto Kawhi. And there's like 7 seconds left on the clock by the time they get it to Kawhi. And then Jokic comes over, it's a double, Kawhi goes baseline, and I don't remember the exact outcome, but I know it wasn't good for the Clippers. Then, of course, you had the time where Murray just knocked it off of Kawhi. So the goal will be for the Clippers to... I do still think there's a lot of pick and roll stuff there, and I guarantee when you watch the tape, they will be like, oh, there were open shots here. And also, you just got to find like more clear side ISO type stuff for Kawhi, to where if they're going to double, the rotations have to be, they take longer to get there. Kawhi can see it beforehand, all that stuff. Also, that one double screen they ran with Batum to get him wide open while also putting Jokic and Murray in the action, I feel like there's something there they could tap into more. But I've taken long enough. Jokic, he's just so damn good. The Jokic play I've got in my head right now is the skip pass to Christian Brown, where Chris Dunn's closeout was okay, not great. In that game, probably not good enough. And we already know this Jokic-Zoo battle, it's going to be a battle this whole way through, man. Like, there were a couple of Jokic post-ups in there where Zoo got him to take kind of like a reeling jump shot, but also Jokic made him look just kind of dumb at times in the post as well, because Jokic does that to everybody. That matchup is going to continue to be awesome, and then we got just enough from Jamal Murray. 7 for 21. I do remember one pull-up three there late. He did have just enough moments of making plays off of the Jokic two-man action. I do still have fears of these moments where you can tell he can't really create enough separation against like switches on wings and stuff, but he's got Jokic and he can make shots. And who knows, maybe he'll be looking more athletic as the series goes along. Really fun stuff. Other subplots of this one. the non-Jokic and non-Zoo minutes are going to continue to be really interesting. Like in the second quarter, when the Nuggets were down 11 and it was Kawhi on the floor without Jokic, there was a moment of, oh no, could the Clippers kind of break this one open? And then the other thing is, when Zoo is not in there and Jokic is, I mean, it's just doubles on Jokic. I remember Russ getting one of his dunks on a cut off of that. It's Ben Simmons trying to guard him in the post. It's Batum trying to guard him in the post. I mean, Zoo played 39 minutes, 21, 10 for 15. Again, like he was making a lot of baskets off of them putting, two to the ball on Harden as they do. And the 39 still felt like it wasn't enough, man. I mean, like the margins are that small in the playoffs. If we could now go to Bucks-Pacers. Yeah, this game one was the most cynical Pacers win this series game you could have. We will see with Dame. He was chirping at Halliburton towards the end there. Again, can't wait to see him. Hope he's all good. As far as what happened in this game, besides Giannis drawing a lot of fouls, being Giannis, really, you're just desperate for scoring elsewhere. Can AJ Green make enough tough shots? Can Gary Trent make enough jumpers or pull-up twos? Gary Trent had this little second quarter stretch, I think it was, of like 3 straight mid-range jumpers. It felt like that might have been the real opportunity they had to get offense around Giannis. The one play that stuck out to me the most was Kevin Porter Jr. driving. I think it was on a screen. And then he kicked it out to Bobby Portis for a 17-footer. And Portis missed, and I was just like, oh boy. Now, granted, I'm operating with the game kind of continued that way. That could have just been a one-off play if they scored a million points otherwise. And then for the Pacers, I mean, there were like 3 plays early on in the first that made me feel kind of how I felt going into this with the Bucks guarding them. One of the very first plays of the game, Miles Turner, wide open pick and pop 3. Brook has got to guard the basket. Later on, that same thing happens, but this time it's Turner throwing it to Nesmith underneath the rim, who then got a goaltend. And then later on, they're just double-teaming Siakam, and then Nesmith's getting wide open for 3, and also Kuzma just had a cardio game. They couldn't stop Nembhard in transition there, where he's just kind of pushing it off of anything. TJ, a similar thing. Halliburton didn't even have to be a scorer like that. He was just cooking off of all the signature Pacer plays, and Siakam made his tough shots. Like, yeah, that was about as bad as it could have gone for the Bucks in Game 1. But if we can find some positive spins, again, AJ Green made some shots, love that for him. Don't call it a comeback, but during the signs of life for the Bucks in the fourth quarter, where they did get it down to 12, but then they couldn't make a shot on the other end, it was no Brook in the game. I think it was Giannis and Portis as your front court, and they were switching just a lot of stuff with the Pacers. It could have been switching everything, and it did make the Pacers have to play a little slower, and they were out of their comfort zone just for a little bit. The Pacers eventually pulled away, but there might have been something there. I don't know. I mean, I picked the Pacers to win, and after seeing that game, I feel like I might have been too generous to the Bucks, even with how good Giannis is going to be. Look, they'll play better than they did in this game. And again, Dame is coming back. So, yeah, that's the first 2 games of the playoffs. Again, I'll be back in a few hours. Good stuff, man.